Yo, what's up, guys? Let's talk about leadership. This is what I've been doing, and what most leaders actually do. And we'll take a couple lessons, right? So, first lesson is coming from a quick line in the book that I recommend you all buy is De Re Militari by Vegetarius. I've used this book before. It's on war, Roman war. All right. So, leadership and discipline, they go together. So, leadership, discipline. Discipline was so strict that the tribunes or officers above mentioned not only caused their troops under their command to be exercised daily in their presence, but they themselves, the leaders themselves, were so perfect in their military exercises as often to set them as an example. So everybody was trained daily, but the ones who were doing the training, everybody was watching them do the training themselves, go through the disciplines. They were rigorous upon themselves. So let's talk about leadership now. So a lot of you guys like, hey, how do I lead my family? How do I lead my wife? How do I lead myself? Well, the way to lead your family, the way to lead your wife, the way to lead, a team at work, whatever it may be, whatever you're going to do, is you have to lead yourself first. Just like the Romans knew, just like those officers knew, they were putting themselves through all those evolutions and letting everybody watch. And then when they asked the troops to do the same thing, they didn't have a problem going through the evolutions. And they had the discipline of not just doing the evolutions once in a while, they got rigorously trained all the time, a nonstop discipline of training. Um, so leadership can only be genuine if you walk the walk and you talk the talk. You're able to lead yourself an example of how you want others to follow you. So you got to set first, it's got to be you. And that's going to take a long time. Knowing some of you, it took me a long time to start to get myself acclimated to intense, serious discipline of leading myself. And then others will just naturally follow because you're leading and you're leading by example. They will follow. All right. The position of leadership can never be a do as I say and not as I do. Like you have to go through the evolutions yourself. You have to go through the discipline yourself. You have to do it. You can't say go to church and then not go or miss holy days of obligation or anything like that. It can't be because I said so. Like that's a authoritarian. No one respects that. Like they might respect it temporarily, but that power is so temporary and works upon fear only that no one's actually going to follow. Everybody will be happy when it's gone and will be plotting your demise. You definitely don't want to be a leader that is go with the flow or relax or just take it easy. Leaders like that are never respected. They might be loved temporarily, but they're not respected. Think about like the best teachers you had or instructors that you've ever had. They were hard, tough men. And they walked the walk themselves. They led themselves, and that's why you trusted them. They weren't necessarily nice or go with the flow or take it easy. Those are people like you could have camaraderie with. But a leader is somebody that's more, um, they're keeping themselves on a very tight leash in their own way of doing things. And thus, that makes you want to be able to follow them because you know what they're doing is true and it's right. All right. So leadership. Here's one of the ba- basic points of leadership. And this is why I like this point of leadership quite a bit. Because leadership, if you just make it up, it's not going to go anywhere for you. If you're just making it up as you go along, that's kind of like going with the flow leadership or anything like that. It's not going to work. And here's why I like leadership based upon two factors. I love the religion and the leadership that gives and the gym, right? Because both of those things, you have a set of metrics, a set of rubrics that if you do these things properly and live accordingly, you are fit or at peace. you might be always at war, and that's, part of the battle of self is you're going to be always at war with yourself or at war with something else, but you'll be at peace because you're always going to be prepared for war. That's how you keep peace. Is you're always constantly disciplined and constantly prepared. Now, both religion and the gym are very similar. Both have a robust discipline that's very actionable, like a whole bunch of set of metrics that if you follow all these metrics, you will be a good soldier of Christ, a good soldier, a good, guy at the gym. You'll be somebody very admired, maybe even possibly envied, which is not a good thing because that's somebody seeking your demise. But anyway, the point is that you'll be somebody that other men can look up to. And that's not always like you're not always going to be the chilled, nice guy, go out and get a beer all the time, like all this like laughing and good stuff like that. You could do that. You do that sometimes, but in general, you can't do that because you have to maintain your leadership and it should be inside of you to maintain that, right? So you're necessarily not going to be doing those other things that most folks are doing, but you have to lead by example. All right. So I'll tell you a little bit about me. So I'm a man that if I did not have, both religion and the gym on these kind of walls and borders and rubrics and metrics, I would run completely wild. And I did run wild. I ran completely wild. And it wasn't until that I put those two things together, the discipline of the gym and the discipline of religion, that everything started to really make sense and that I became a more capable leader, somebody that folks would follow. Not necessarily like or love, but follow, right? That's what you're looking for. You're looking to lead by example, as we said in Vegetarius. The troops were good, and they went through the evolutions hard because they saw the officers train themselves and go through the evolutions hard. So you need to go through the evolutions hard first, like way beforehand. You need to get your life taken care of before you say anything to anybody else. And not like just for a short amount of time, not like a day. Like you can't do that. You gotta put in the work. Like it's not easy to do all that work, and it might take you a decade. I mean, for me, I've been going to the gym for 24 years. A lot of that was self worship beforehand, which is a piss poor way to live, because I was kind of worshiping my own self, diet, body, exercise. Look at me, that was a very poor way to live. And then I realized, hey, body and soul, don't idolize the body because no one wants to follow anybody who idolizes themselves. That's the most ridiculous thing. So back to this. So I'm a man who likes the regiment. Okay, so that's why I like gym. I like fasting. I like the military, and maybe I should have ended up in the military as a career because it's a very straight and narrow path. You do a whole bunch of evolutions and you follow a whole bunch of rubrics, and it all makes sense. Marriage. I like the confines of marriage. I like how marriage is structured, how it is with the walls and the borders and the do's and the not do's. And that all makes sense when you're kind of structuring it in religion. Family life is the same way. And then traditional art, architecture, dress. It just makes sense. Like that order makes a lot of sense. And it makes sense to especially our male brains, right? We're geared towards doing hard things and going through the evolutions. Things I definitely don't like are a lot of the modern works of art. Like that, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't follow like a set of true rubrics where things come together and make sense for the brain. Maybe a lot of you guys, think you like that, but really, like spend some time like evaluating yourself and understand if you do. And of course, I love movies that have a set of guidelines. Like there's good, there's evil, there's a problem, guy fixes it, That's how it goes. So anyway, the point is lead by example. Put yourself through the evolutions first. Find for yourself, and I would recommend the Holy Catholic Church as one. Find yourself the rubrics that you need to kind of build those borders in your life. Get to the gym, get religion, and start creating those borders for yourself because no one else is going to do it for you. Okay? That's it.